group affiliate in Afghanistan. At least 90 people were killed, including 13 U.S. troops, a death toll that is likely to rise. The Pentagon now says the attack was carried out by a single suicide bomber at a gate to the airport and that there was no second explosion at a nearby hotel, as was previously reported. Meanwhile, more than 5,000 people are still inside the airport awaiting flights out of the country, with Washington's August 31st deadline for completing evacuations fast approaching. Selena Sykes has more.
Taliban fighters guard Kabul airport. The ground strewn with abandoned belongings in the bloody aftermath of Thursday's deadly attack, which tore through crowds of Afghans desperately trying to escape the Taliban. As many nations begin wrapping up their evacuations, some people are still gathering outside the airport despite the threat of another attack.
دامنگیر مانه مثلا به مجبورن ما میایم اینجا با ترس غلبه میکنیم.
Meanwhile, Kabul continues to reel from the attack as relatives identify bodies of loved ones and overwhelmed hospitals struggle to treat the injured. The bombing claimed by jihadist group ISK is likely to significantly complicate the rescue efforts as the US and its allies rush to evacuate people before the 31st of August deadline for troops to leave under an agreement with the Taliban. Securing Kabul airport to ensure no more attacks happen is now American soldiers' top priority, who have stepped up checks, helicopter patrols and closed several routes to the airport. Despite all of these measures, there is still a risk of another attack, according to this security expert.
Mettre en place un dispositif de sécurisation dans ces conditions-là est extrêmement complexe. Il n'assure vraiment la sécurité que de la base militaire aérienne, donc une petite enclave, et ils sont dépendants de la sécurité fournie par les talibans à l'extérieur.
Over the last few days, the US has urged its citizens not to make their own way to Kabul airport after repeated warnings that an attack was likely.
In Washington, White House officials have told President Joe Biden that the next few days of the evacuation mission from Afghanistan will be the most dangerous to date. Here's General Frank McKenzie, the head of U.S. Central Command, speaking earlier Friday.
The threat from ISIS is extremely real. We're doing everything we can to be prepared for those attacks. That includes reaching out to the Taliban, who are actually providing the outer security cordon around the airfield, to make sure they know what we expect them to do to protect us. And we will continue to coordinate with them as they go forward.
Let's take a closer look now at the French evacuations out of Afghanistan. Paris says its operations could continue beyond Friday evening and that it's evacuated more than 2,500 people so far. But many Afghans who worked for the French government are afraid of being left behind. Olivia Bizot has the story.
Time is ticking for those hoping to flee Afghanistan as evacuations enter their final phase. It comes after an explosion hit Kabul airport on Thursday, killing scores of people.
Les opérations vont finir prochainement. Elles ont été évidemment interrompues, perturbées hier par cette attaque terroriste terrible. Et donc, on est sur des opérations qui vont s'achever rapidement. La date du 31 août est maintenue. Et ça peut aller peut-être au-delà de ce soir, mais enfin, nous devons rester prudents sur ce sujet.
The departure leaves thousands of Afghans fearing persecution by the Taliban behind. Many of them are interpreters, journalists, and others who have worked for foreign forces over the past 20 years. Women are particularly at risk and have been advised to not make the dangerous journey to the airport. Meanwhile, families are being torn apart. Mohammed, a former Afghan interpreter for the French army, arrived in Paris this week, but without his family.
Si les talibans commencent de chercher de la maison, s'ils ont trouvé ma famille, ils sont tués très très vite. Je suis sûr, nous sommes dans un tas très urgent. Il faut penser pour nous et pour les personnes qui sont une relation avec les étrangers comme l'armée française. Si on perd le temps, on perd leur vie.
Many countries, including Germany, Sweden and Canada, have already stopped their evacuation efforts. Foreign troop withdrawals are designed to be completed by the 31st of August, a deadline agreed with the Taliban.